Hey everybody, Justin here, just in to talk about game delays, game releases, that sort of thing. If you don't know me, I shipped about 4 games in the WWE series years ago. I'm back in games now. I have one game I fulfilled my work on that hasn't come out yet, and another game I'm working on that has not been announced yet. So, and before that, I was a game journalist for many years, so I have some experience in the game industry. I'm not bragging, I'm just giving you a little bit of background into my credibility. So when a game is going to release, there are many things that need to happen. Of course, first, the developer who does the coding and the programming and all of that sort of thing, they need to finish up their tasks. They usually have a deadline when that needs to happen. They can often work pretty hard to make that happen, but they do it and they submit it usually to the publisher. And what the publisher normally does is they pay for the work on the game, and then they put the game out and make the money from the game, that sort of thing. Publishers will want to make sure that what the developers did is up to snuff, is what they're looking for. So they will go through some tests themselves. They will have other players do focus testing to check it out, to see what their opinions are. And then they will see how it jibes with their marketing plan. So marketing is an entire company division in and of itself, and they determine when games come out and the advertising that goes into that. So, that's their whole life, is figuring those things out. So some of us often like to question, well, why haven't we heard any info? Why haven't we gotten a release date for some games? There's full divisions that are dedicated to that. So we got to kind of try to defer to those. Plus there's PR. PR generally works with press and nowadays content creators to give them the things they need to cover the game, to review the game, previews, that sort of thing. So we've got the publisher, and the publisher needs to be happy as well because they're generally fitting the bill for it. Then in some cases we have the licensor. Now the licensor is in charge of either the movie, the sports league, the giant brand, and they are very picky as well. It varies from licensor to licensor, but they want to make sure that their brand is represented. So they will also want to check all that stuff and probably do their own kind of testing just to make sure that they are happy with the game when it comes out. So all of that means releases are taken very seriously internally from those stakeholders. A stakeholder is somebody who has a big concern with a certain part of the project or the project as a whole. Those stakeholders are very concerned with the quality of the game and also the timing to make sure that it comes out when they want. For example, you want the movie game to come out as close to the movie as possible. You want the sports game to come out probably at the beginning of the year. You want the wrestling game to come out maybe around the big event, or barring all of that, come out around Christmas time when a lot of game buying is done. Now, there are other reasons why release dates may waver, release dates may not get announced, and those are problems that are foreseen inside the company that we as gamers may not know about. For example, let's say that there's a potential of a lawsuit, that maybe our game is a little too close to another game that has already come out, or even another aspect of our franchise that is separate. For example, let's take the Avengers video game. Squaresoft did the Avengers game, which probably was not a success by any stretch, but you could not have Iron Man look like Robert Downey Jr. You could not have Thor look like Chris Hemsworth. Perhaps that was a change that needed to be made. There was, here's a good one. So Beyond Two Souls is a game by Quantic Dream that uses Ellen Page, very, very skilled, famous-ish actor. And does Ellen Page still go by Ellen Page? I'm not exactly sure, and I'm doing this off the cuff. But The Last of Us, that was coming out around the same time as Beyond Two Souls, but there was a little bit of hullabaloo that the main character, Ellie, of The Last of Us, looked a little bit too much like Ellen Page, who is not affiliated with The Last of Us. So changes needed to be made. That probably affected the release date because legal issues are a big deal. You do not want your game blocked from coming out. You do not want all of those copies manufactured and then have a court order say you cannot ship them or you need to recall them. Game recalls are a big deal. There's a game I remember on Xbox called The Guy Game. Kind of a perverted, weird, not very good game that was like Girls Gone Wild, the game show. And it turns out one of the girls was underage who actually put her top off and bared her breasts in the game. You cannot have that, so they had to recall all the games. Silicon Knights, makers of Eternal Darkness, a game that I love, and the GameCube re-release of Metal Gear Solid, they put out a game called Too Human, which ended up getting recalled because of problems with Epic and Unreal. So game recalls are a big deal. You don't want that to happen. Games, unlike movies, do not have a big revenue stream yet. They have, you buy the game new when it comes out, and that's it. Although nowadays you've got Game Pass, you've got PS Plus, those are ways that games can still make money. But there's not like TV where you've got DVD sales and, premium cable and syndication and re-releases, special edition. You don't have that in games, so when the game comes out, it's got to be able to sell. I know that players are unhappy that certain games that they're interested in either get delayed or don't have a release date even announced, something for them to look forward to. But I want you to remember that games in development have a whole bunch, dozens if not hundreds of people working full-time right now to make sure that those games come out, doing their best. Most people don't go to work 40, 50 hours a week and half-ass it. They're working hard on what they're doing. Some game developers realize that their game is not going that well, but they are still doing their part to make it as good as possible. So if you're waiting for certain games to come out and you are worried about the release date or there is no release date, have a little patience. We've all got a ton of stuff that we can play, especially with Game Pass and PS Plus and those things to give us lots of options. Be a little patient and hope that it all turns out in the end. Hopefully that gave you a little bit of illumination. I have been Justin Leeper. Take care.